Hello. Today we are, well, the weather's changed anyway, so it's raining outside. Not great. But we're going to look at simplifying some algebra fractions. Let's move my mouse out of the way. So we're going to keep it simple. We're going to look at fractions where there's algebra involved and see how we can simplify it, maybe take out some common factors. Okay, so for the first example, my equation says 18, or my expression says 18x divided by 9. So we use the fraction sign in algebra instead of the divide by sign. Okay, so you may get some questions where they have a divide by sign, so let's convert it back to a fraction. So in this first one, I need to cancel out a common factor from the numerator and the denominator. Now, we've got 18 and 9. Now, 18 is in the 9 times table, and 9 is in the 9 times table. So why don't we divide the top by 9 and divide the bottom by 9? Okay, how many 9s can I get into 18? Well, that's 2. So I'm left with 2x on the top. And how many 9s are there in 9? Well, there's only one of them, so there's 1 on the bottom. Try to remember though, we don't write fractions over 1 because anything over 1 is just the numerator on its own. So actually, our answer is 2x. So that's the first one where we're cancelling out a number. Let's have a look at the second one. So I need to try and cancel out common factors, common terms that are on the top and the bottom by dividing by them. Let's look at the numbers first. 4 and 8 are both in the 4 times table. So why don't we divide both the numerator by 4 and the denominator by 4? 4 divided by 4 is just 1. So I've just got 1a left, but we don't write 1a, we just write a, because that is one of them. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and I've got an a. But there's still something else that's common to both the numerator and the denominator. And there is a term of a. There is one of our algebra letters, a, in both numerator and denominator. So let's divide the numerator by a, and let's divide the denominator by a. How many a's go into a? Well, that's 1. There's only one a there. And how many a's go into a? Well, that's 1. So this is going to be 2 times 1 on the bottom. So it's just going to be 2. You can cancel that one out. And that's our final answer. So I've simplified that to a half. Let's have a look at the third example. 6xy divided by 12y. So I'm trying to cancel out, divide by common factors. Let's look at 6 and 12 first. Let's look at the numbers. They're both in the 6 times table, so we can divide them both by 6. And if I divide the numerator by 6, then the 6 will cancel out and become a 1, but that's just 1xy. So I just write xy. Divide the bottom by 6, well 12 divided by 6 is 2, and I'm left with my y. Now again, I've got a common factor in my answer of y. So I can divide the top and the bottom by y. If I divide this by y, then this y, one y cancels out and I'm just left with the x as the numerator. And if I divide this denominator by y, then this y cancels out and I'm just left with a 2 as a denominator. So it's just x over 2 as an answer. Okay, let's have a look at the last example, one which you may see from time to time, or similar. I've got 15x cubed and I'm dividing by 5x. Right, let's start with the numbers first. 5 and 15 are both in the 5 times table, so let's divide them by 5. So 5s into 15 is 3, and don't forget the x cubed. 5 into 5 is 1, so that's going to be a 1x, but we don't write 1x, we just write x. So now let's think about the letters, the algebra bit. This x cubed is the same as saying x times x times x. And I want to divide it by 1x. So this is where a times by x and a divide by x will cancel each other out. So what I will be left with is just 2x's, x times x. But how do we write x times x? Instead of writing it as a cubed, I write it as a squared, x squared. So, going back to this question, if I divide the numerator by x and the denominator by x, then this x cubed becomes x squared. So I'm left with, on the top, 3x squared, x divided by x. How many x's go into x? 1. But then we don't write anything over 1, so my final answer is just 3x squared. Okay, I hope this helps. So have a go at some questions related to this